Endrick has just arrived at Real Madrid and could leave at the end of the year. In the next transfer window, he could wear another shirt. What's this story? This has been reported in the Spanish press. My name is Bruno, and we're going to talk a little bit about it in today's video. The article was published in AS in Spain. Endrick has a plan B. The Brazilian, another big signing for Real Madrid, like Mbappe. At least that's what the Spanish press is saying. They're treating him like this. They're going to review his situation at Christmas. If he doesn't play before he stagnates, they'll consider a loan. What's the concern about the article in AS? Endrick understands that if he doesn't have any relevant minutes to show his worth and his football skills by the transfer window, the best option is a loan. This is according to the investigation by AS, a Madrid-based media outlet that follows Real Madrid very closely and has excellent sources within the Madrid community, and probably among Endrick's staff as well. AS and Marca are the most influential media outlets in Spain when it comes to covering Real Madrid. So, they say that Endrick is not ruling out a loan deal during the transfer window if, by the turn of December into January, he does not have a relevant presence on the field. Endrick has just arrived at Real Madrid and can leave at the end of the year. In the next transfer window, he can wear another shirt. What is this story? This has appeared in the Spanish press. My name is Bruno, and we are going to talk a little bit about it in today's video. The article was published in AS in Spain. Endrick has a plan B. The Brazilian, another great signing by Real Madrid, like Mbappe. At least that is what the Spanish press is saying. They are treating it this way. They will review his situation at Christmas. If he does not play before he stagnates, they will consider a loan deal. What is the concern that the article in AS raises? Endrick understands that if by the transfer window he does not have relevant minutes to show his worth and his football, the best option is a loan deal. This is according to the research by AS, a Madrid-based media outlet that follows Real Madrid very closely and has excellent sources within the Madrid community, and probably within Endrick's staff as well. AS and Marca are the most influential media outlets in Spain that cover Real Madrid. So, they say that Endrick is not ruling out a loan move in the transfer window if, by the turn of December into January, he is not playing a relevant role. What is Endrick's biggest concern? First, that his development will be halted. We are talking about a kid who has just turned 18 and who still needs to mature, to make some final adjustments, as happened with Vinicius and Rodrigo. Real Madrid comes here and gets a very young player, with a lot of talent already developed in some aspects, but with that finishing touch yet to be made. Endrick understands that if he doesn't play, he will stop developing, his growth will be stunted. Is there any logic to this thinking? Of course it does, it makes sense. The second concern, according to the article, losing his place in the Brazilian national team. Today, Endrick sees himself as a regular player in the national team, not a starter, as we saw in the Copa America. And I think that was a mistake on Dorival's part, especially given Endrick's characteristics as a center forward, which Brazil needed. Without the need for improvisation and with other options in the squad, far below Endrick himself, he now sees himself as a regular player in the squad. There is a FIFA date in September. Brazil will have games against Ecuador and Paraguay, and he believes that spending an entire semester without playing will also harm him in the national team environment. Because really, how are you going to demand a starting spot in the attack of the Brazilian national team from someone who doesn't play for your club, who is a bench player at your club? When he does play, he plays very little. If we look at Real Madrid's first two official games of the season, in the Spanish Super Cup final, there in Warsaw, he didn't play a single minute. He played in the preseason of the 3 games there in the United States, 2 as a starter. He played for a while in the debut against Milan. That's right, against Milan. I narrated the first 2, and then he played for a half and a half against Barcelona. Then, a muscle problem kept him out of the game against Chelsea in the Super Cup. In the games that counted, he was on the bench. He didn't play against Atlanta, and at the weekend, he was on the bench from start to finish. So, Endrick understands that this could be a warning sign. Whoa, wait a minute. Maybe I need another place to play, to develop, to not stop, to not slow down the sequence. So, what are the possibilities? January, window, seek a loan. How long a loan? 6 months. Play half a season away from Real Madrid? Maybe. Everything indicates from the article in AS, Endrick will wait to make this assessment until the middle of the year. If this situation does not change, If his minutes continue to be very low, he will consider this possibility, according to the article in AS. The point is that Ancelotti has already made two statements that lead us to believe that Endrick will have the minutes he expects. He starts by saying that there is no such thing as Endrick at Real Madrid Castilla, that Endrick is in the plans, he will not go to Real Madrid B. I think this is a very positive indication, and we addressed this and discussed it at the time that Ancelotti's thinking was disseminated. And also when Ancelotti says that we will make some individual rotations, because if Real Madrid reaches its maximum in everything it competes in this season, it could play more than 70 games, 72 in total. So, these rotations will be necessary, mandatory, I would say. And Ancelotti has already signaled, even using the term vacaciones, that he will give someone a break here at some point, in one game or another. It will be necessary, and that is where Endrick will appear, especially because the article in AS itself reminds us that Endrick has the characteristics of a fixed 9, in the center of the attack. The player who had these characteristics in last season's squad was Joselu, and he ended up playing a lot, scoring some very important goals, including in the semi-finals of the Champions League. So, what do I think of this story? Is Endrick rushing? Is he getting ahead of himself? Is he too anxious? I think it is normal for you to want these minutes. The article in AS also highlights something that we cannot fail to take into consideration. But Vini has already won 2 Champions Leagues. Rodrigo has already won 2 Champions Leagues. Doesn't Endrick want to compare himself to those guys? That is not the issue. See how each of them arrived at Real Madrid. Endrick, unlike Rodrigo and Vinicius, arrives with 2 Brazilian championship titles under his belt, a Super Cup title, and having played a significant role, for example, in winning the Brazilian championship last year. He was very important for Palmeiras' comeback against Botafogo last year. No one is saying that he is a star player and will win the Ballon d'Or this year. That's it. No, but he is arriving at an interesting stage, with remarkable goals for the Brazilian national team, a goal at Wembley, a goal at the Bernabeu, and playing in the Copa America, where Brazil did not do well, obviously. But he already arrives with more experience than Vinicius and Rodrigo had. Now, that is not the only assessment. The coaching staff will evaluate fundamentals, training performance, physical performance, relationships. All of this is information that we do not have. Now, I also understand Endrick's concern, and I understand you making plans. Plan B, Plan A, Endrick's idea is not to leave Real Madrid now, according to the article. I am basing all of this on the article in AS, which I read from cover to cover, twice, very carefully. So, nothing here is being extracted from voices in my head. It is the article in AS from Spain. I gather. I suppose that Endrick is not making a move of, I want to leave. That's not it. Endrick's plan is to stay at Real Madrid, of course, to be part of this squad for the entire season. Now, in life we need to make alternative plans, have options. In an ideal world, everything will work out. And if it doesn't, what are the paths I have? Or do I have no path at all? There always is, right? When all is lost, there is always a path, as Renato Russo used to say. So, there is a loan, maybe to play in the Spanish Championship, in another team, or in another league, play in the Italian Serie A, show what he can do. I understand. There is another point that the article highlights, which is another concern that I had even forgotten. The concern with relevance from a media point of view. Because, damn, if you lose your place at Real Madrid, you lose your place in the national team.